Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sundays in Song. I'm so thrilled to be joined by Natalie Draper. Natalie's a good friend and also our composer in residence from 2019 to 2021. During that time, Natalie wrote four pieces for the choir of St. David's, and we were thrilled to sing them all. Natalie, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So this Sunday we're performing again your setting of some psalm texts that you compiled together in a lovely piece called "Oh Send Out Your Light." And I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that piece and maybe some of the things that surround that piece.
Sure. It takes text from Psalms 43 and 130, and some of the key lines from it are, "Oh, send out your light. I wait for the Lord. Out of the depths I cry to thee." There's definitely a sense of kind of being in a period of waiting and hoping for something that is for some truth and some light, essentially. And it's interesting because when I had this residency, it started in 2019. But the bulk of these pieces, including this one, really sort of happened like right around the time that we knew about the pandemic. And I mean, I was planning to do something that was kind of meditative anyway. That was sort of where my music was going. But these pieces, I think, really actually it was easy to want to do more of that given what was going on in the world at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. The preces and responses that you wrote for us is this wonderful meditative, it's called meditative preces and responses. And the set of three pieces that you wrote that this is a part of, I think we had just performed this maybe a couple weeks before quarantine started. I mean, it was right on the cusp, and we didn't get to perform the other pieces until we did a virtual concert of them in 2021. And so this very much for me feels has some of those feelings of expectancy and desire for certainty and things like that that arose during the pandemic baked into it. I find it really expressive, particularly your incorporation of traditional materials like repetition of lines and rhythms, but also um, sometimes you have these glissandi figures, these slides up and away from notes that have a sense, sometimes both of sort of a lulling nature, but also sometimes an unsettling nature. And
Mhm.
um, I don't know if you have anything necessarily to add to that, but that's one of the things I find very attractive about this piece is that back and forth between points of either repose or stability and these moments where we're sort of pushing against the grid a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of describing it. I mean, to me the text from these Psalms, there's almost like a keening quality to it, perhaps. And when I think of glissandi, they can be so emotive, but they also can have a way of sort of, maybe you glissando into a chord. So sort of hoping that we're going to get kind of a resolution, or maybe you glissando into a chord, but then the chord ends up feeling not totally, exactly as consonant as one might want. So I think that I mean glissandi permeate my work, actually, especially right now. I've been doing a lot of stuff with glissandi, and I think their emotive power is really interesting. And that was definitely a big part of Send Out Your Light for sure.
What's some of the stuff that you're working on now that's incorporated glissandi?
I have been partnering with the organist faculty. I'm on faculty at Syracuse University, and we have a wonderful organist, Ann Laver, who's here. And as anyone who knows, the organ cannot glissandi, but the organ can do lots of interesting sort of additive and subtractive processes with sustain that can mimic that. And so I've been trying to sort of see how does that work when another instrument is involved that can glissandi. So if a violin is involved, for instance, and can do a glissandi that also is supported by sort of a growing cascade of clusters in the organ. I've been doing some stuff with trombone and organ. The trombone can glissandi in very evocative ways. And I also have a piece that was for soprano and alto and organ, and they're doing various glissandi. Um, So yeah, that's something that I've just been continuing to work with. And actually, I do think that a significant bit of that started with the project at St. David. So it's kind of neat that that has been continuing on.
That's really cool. Well, I'll look forward to hearing those. Your organ works are really interesting and cool, and so this adds even more to that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk a little bit about this piece and some of the stuff that you're doing now. We always love seeing your work, and we're glad to be offering this again this week.
Thank you so much. I've always loved working with you all, and you're a fantastic group. Thank you.